Vicente Luque. You ever say that? Try it right now. Vicente Luque. No, try it. I want you to say it right now. Say it out loud. Say Vicente Luque. It's a fun name to say. I mean, not for nothing. It's a fun name to say. It rolls off the tongue, and I'm not trying to be funny right now, and you might want to get used to saying this name because he now matters. Every fighter will have a day, but he'll never know when it's going to be. When all of a sudden, he matters. He captures the imagination of the audience, and he secures the respect of the roster. When he does those two things simultaneously, that is his day. Luque had that day. I don't know that it necessarily had to do fully with Chiesa. I don't know that it fully had to do with finding and showing the world that he's got his own submission. And people don't know what to call that. It is not a guillotine, but it is not an anaconda. It is not a darce. It's not. It's got a little variance of all of them. That is a Vicente Luque. He's written, particularly the way he finishes. He doesn't walk around and always entangle the legs. I mean, there's parts of that if you ask a black belt or an expert in jiu-jitsu, you could go ask Gordon Ryan, and he's going to say, well, it's really none of those three things. It's got a combination of those three, but I only bring it to you because he doesn't really show us that he's got a move. We knew he had that move. The relevance to him finishing Michael Chiesa in the way that he did, it was the same technique that Vicente Luque, but it's a fun one to say. It's the same way he finished T-Wood. What does that mean, Chael? Well, it means the team Chiesa knew it was coming. They prepared for it, and they still couldn't stop it. And when an athlete, maybe he's not a black belt in jiu-jitsu, maybe he's not an Abu Dhabi contender, but he could beat any black belt and he could beat any contender if he can get to that one move. If you have something like that, it will level the playing field. I grew up with Dan Henderson. Dan Henderson was not a great boxer, but Dan Henderson had a power in his right hand that equalized it. He could go out there and compete. He could even strike with great boxers. Luque's offering that, and for me as a viewer, what I appreciated was how calm and poised he stayed in adversity before getting his special hold. He was taken down. He was passed. Chiesa had 2 different, possibly 3 different rear naked chokes. Luque spoke about it after the fight. He said, oh yeah, that was tight. It was 80% there, but 80% is not 100%. It was the poise and the calmness that I think got everybody to turn their heads. I think that is where the respect factor changed. Now, Luque took a risk. He called out Usman. I feel as though it paid off. Had he been ignored completely, he would look like a fool. You got to take a risk. He took one, and he got Usman to respond. That's a win. The champion of the world, the number 1 ranked pound-for-pound fighter in the industry today, Kamaru Usman, publicly responded to Luque. That's a win. What else were Luque's options? Okay. A bigger risk, but it would have come with more reward as if he had called out Covington. Now, to call out Covington is only a risk that you want to take if you as a fellow fighter believes Colby is going to beat Usman. But everybody will call out Usman because Usman's the champion. Nobody will call out Colby because Colby has nothing for you to take from him. That's why you plant the seed now. If you are of the school of thought that Colby is going to win, you will be the only one calling him out. You will be the only one challenging, which means if he emerges as champion, the most realistic and viable fight at the time is the only guy that's asked for it, and he spent 3 months doing it. Now, Luque doesn't need to take my advice. I'm sharing with you that this is the math. This is the mental chess that Luque had to play before he called that shot. But if anybody believes that Covington is going to win, they need to come out, and they don't need to support Colby, and they don't need to pat him on the back. They need to be calling him out and challenging him now to get ready for that moment. It's a very interesting spot, guys. Think about it in this perspective. Here's one you'll be able to relate to because it's a little bit more recent example, but think of Ciryl Gane and think of Ngannou. What's the difference there? What's the difference? Think about it, because there is one. Here's what it is. They're both champions. So Ciryl Gane now gets all of the luxuries and all of the respect and all of the photo shoots and all of the mentions for being a champion. And yes, people will put interim next to it, thinking that's an asterisk that they're going to put him down. The word after interim is going to be champion. But nobody will call him out. They can't. The interim title is not up for grabs. The interim title does not get defended. So Ciryl will get all of the things that Francis gets. His sponsorship money will be the same. His media opportunities will be the same. The respect that he gets from his peers and the adoration he gets from his team will be the same. But he has no pressures because he will not get called out. Because he has a belt that cannot be defended. Do you see the difference? Do you see what a perfect spot that is to be in if you're going in with the undisputed champion? Because pressure is real. And all that pressure does within the sport, just so we understand, okay, if this was a 3-minute fight, pressure wouldn't be worth a damn. Because it's scheduled for 25 minutes and you now bring cardio into it, pressure creates a stress. Stress will release a chemical in your brain that will go through your body known as adrenaline. If you have too much adrenaline and it goes too quickly, that's called a dump, but it will exhaust you. You will reach a fatigue faster than the guy who isn't dealing with stress. It's why an athlete can go into his chosen sport, and it can be any sport you want to do. It can be volleyball, it can be basketball, in this case, it can be combat. But he can go and do that sport for an hour hard, every day, no break. He could do it 90 minutes every day, couple of breaks, but he's still out there doing it. But he's going to have a very hard time doing it even for 3 or 4 or 7 or 8 minutes when people are watching in competition. It is not because the effort is more. It's because of the stress. You put stress into an environment, you are instantly going to create fatigue at a faster rate. I don't know that Surreal's going to have that. One thing that has been so impressive with Surreal Gone, but is watching his playfulness. Watching that little boyish smile as he's face-to-face with Derek Lewis at the weigh-ins and everybody's booing him. Watching Surreal walk out to Derek Lewis's music. All of Houston thought it was Derek coming because of the song that he played. Surreal was just having a little fun with him on his way to the ring before taking the belt away. That lightheartedness, that playfulness will take you so incredibly far in sport. There are days that you want to care. There are days that you want to pucker up and panic. But in a perfect world, you would do that on the training room. You would take this practice so serious. You'll want to get the absolute most out of this practice. You'll want to compete for everything in training. On the day of competition, you want to care less. Not be careless. You want to care less than your opponent. This seems to be something that Surreal is absolutely mastered. And by the way, I'm not ready to give you an opinion. I'm not ready to put a curse or a hex down on either guy. And I'm talking about Francis and I'm talking about Surreal. But I will share one thought with you, and you're going to want to keep this in mind early, particularly if you're going to handicap this thing. We have not seen the best of Surreal Gone. We know that to be true for one reason. Surreal Gone in every single contest that he's had so far has had to worry about the takedown. And even though he's been impeccable at defending and stopping the wrestlers, he's had to worry about it. I could go back to Junior Dos Santos, who has a black belt in jiu-jitsu. That comes with a level of grappling. I could go to Derek Lewis, who has an actual amateur wrestling background and is looking to get into submission underground right now. When you have to worry about the threat of the takedown, it will change your ability to kickbox. It will change where your hands go. It will change your setups. It will change how you engage. There will be absolutely no fear or worry of a takedown against Francis Ngannou, which means Surreal Gone can go out and do what he does best, which is straight up kickbox and not even have to think twice about it. That is going to be a meaningful advantage. Is it an advantage over Francis? Not my claim. It will be an advantage that Surreal has not had in any of his past opponents. And by the way, he's beat them all.